Hi, I'm Gabriel with Anicamp. Previously Yuha was constantly bullied for having a little extra meat on his bones. One day he stumbled upon a door to another world and was granted overpowered leveling abilities and skills. That night, he would also undergo a transformation and shock everyone. When he returned to school, Yuha would then find a book written by the sage that left him the house and gained the ability to use magic. The story continues as Yu reminds himself with the major role about how magic, the materialization of one's imagination, gets the idea to focus really hard on imagining a place he wants to go. And Chuck Lee finds that he teleported himself into the forest. Of course, he needs to be able to imagine the place, so he can only teleport to places he has been. But this means that he will still be able to feed Knight when he is on the school trip. The two explore a cave and make quick work of some goblins to find that they have earned some nice loot. Yu decides to call it a day, but isn't too happy about it. Explains that he has to get ready for the school trip, but Knight isn't having any of it and just takes off. He tries to explain that he won't be gone for long, but Knight silences him and makes it clear that Yu should hide his presence. He is ready to jump into action to save yet another girl, but Knight grabs onto him and Yu uses his brilliant introduction skills to realize that Knight doesn't want him to go. The girl, who was seemingly in trouble a second ago, manages to defend herself, but that doesn't last for long, and Yu decides to intervene. He thanks Knight for helping out, but is then shocked to see that there are several enemies left. Yu decides to try the divine whip for the first time and finds that it's way too powerful. Its info reads that the whip gains a tail each time it's swung and it always hits its target. Carries the girl as he thinks about how they have cleared most of the monsters in that area and wonders if Owen and the others can move freely there. Now, since the girl is unconscious, he decides that it would be best to take her home, but Knight seems uneasy. The girl wakes up in a panic, and Ye offers his cure-all medicine. She is far too skeptical of him to drink it, but he offers to drink. At first, she decides to just drink it, and she's shocked to find that all her pain is gone. She introduces herself as Luna, but Knight doesn't like her at all. Luna explains that she came to the forest to train when she was attacked, and it's surprised to hear that Yuha defeated all the beasts. She wants to know what Yuha is doing in the dangerous forest, and he lies to say that he is just training there too. Luna can't believe anyone would train there and corrects herself once she remembers. She said she was training there too. She apologizes for him having to carry her since she is so sweaty and dirty, but Yuha reveals that he has a portable bath. He explains that he received the rare item after defeating a crystal deer, and she now sees why he trains there. She reveals that she's there because of a customer, but corrects herself again and sue Yu to accompany her. While she trains, Yuha considers saying no, but realizes that she will just continue training alone. This would only cause him to worry, so he decides to stay with her, but only for a while. The three of them then train together as Yuha explains to us that he taught Luna a lot, but she taught him a lot also. They both clearly got stronger, and their teamwork is now impeccable. Luna thanks him for his help, and he points out how good she is with her threads. She states that she still has a long way to go, and in order to complete her mission, she needs to get better. Unfortunately, Ye won't be able to train for a while, as he explains that he has to go on a school trip. She has no clue what that is, but understands that the fun had to end eventually. This will be their last day together, so they decide to give it their all. Later that night, Yuha takes a bath and is surprised when Luna arrives to explain that he has helped her get much stronger. She cherished every moment they spent together and surprises Yu again when she reveals that he saved her. The next day, Yuha and his classmates begin their school trip and play some cards. Yuha's exceptionally good, but he keeps himself humble by stating that it's just his luck. He's pretty sleep deprived though and decides to rest. Yu realizes that he must be winning so much because he put so many points into his luck stat, but thinks about how it feels like he's cheating. They arrive at their destination, and Yu is amazed by the huge facility where they will be having their off-campus study trip. Their teacher explains that the trip is partly meant as training for their future as elites, and they will spend one night and 2 days outdoors. As for food and water, the students are told that there are several edible plants and mushrooms in the area. They're all pretty inexperienced though, so they are instructed to show the teacher everything before they eat it. If they do happen to get poisoned, they will be seen by the school doctor, Miss Yokawa. She's pretty creepy though, and Kate explains that when you pass by her office, someone can always be heard screaming. Akira would rather not eat than risk getting sick. But Ms. Soa tells them to stop being a coward. It's a competition between them, and their reward will be that their teacher will receive a higher evaluation. This isn't very motivating though, as the students realize that it really only benefits her. The students want to hurry up and start so they can come back to rest at the facility, but are shocked to hear that they will be sleeping out in the wilderness. He explains that he has never even put up a tent before. Aki assures them that he can do anything he puts his mind to. But everyone just ignores him. Yuha's group decides to split up in pairs to accomplish their tasks. Get to the river, but find that they're a bit late, and Kita considers giving up on fishing. However, thanks to Yuha's abilities, he's able to find a hidden spot where there are plenty of fish. The water's too shallow to use poles though, so Yuha must use a different technique. As he observes the fish, his keen instincts tell him that they aren't as agile as the monsters in the darkest region forest. He remembers how Luna told him that if he can read the feeling of his opponents, then he can predict their movements. With that in mind, he begins to catch several fish, and everyone admires his inhuman reflexes. Kay points out that he has caught plenty of fish already, and he credits it all to Luna's teaching. Elsewhere, Luna notices that her threads are sharper and wonders if it was because of the training. She has lived as an assassin since she was a child, and is covered in the blood of those she has killed. Luna begins to wish that she had met Yuha sooner, but stops and reminds herself that she is a professional killer. She is known as the head hunter, and this is why she must now say goodbye to Yuha. Back at the forest, Yuha returns to his group, and Kita excitedly shows how many fish Yuha caught with his bare hands. Wonders what is wrong with Akira, and he explains that Rin worked him to death. Aki is then forced to recall the tragic offense that led to his collapse. Things started out fine when he was just picking herbs, but before he knew it, he was being sent up cliffs to gather plants, being made to test mushrooms for poison, and being used as a decoy to lure away bears. He is terrified to hear that he was eating mushrooms, after being told a million times not to. But he explains that it was for the sake of their smiles, shows them what they have gathered and use this ability to remove any dangerous food. They take their food to be inspected by the teachers and find that Kiri is there as well. They have a quick chat about how much fun they're having, and she leaves. Akira can't help but be envious of his closeness to Kiri, who he calls Princess, and the other girls explain that it's her nickname because of the elegant way she carries herself. The teacher's amazed to see that they have gathered so much food and even more impressed to find that it's all edible. This isn't all though, as they will also be graded on their cooking, and the group decides to have you be the chef. Miss Owada demands that he do his best, as she explains that her bonus is on the line. But Yu just wishes she would hide her ulterior motives better. Yuhan does all the cooking, but everyone goes completely silent after trying his food. He becomes a bit nervous, but is delighted to see that everyone thinks it's super delicious. Miss Water explains that they eat food made by first-rate chefs on a daily basis, so it's amazing that they still find Yuha cooking delicious. Yuha watches everyone's happy faces as they eat his food, and thinks about how he has never felt this way before. But feeding them makes him happy. Is a bit tipsy and reveals that she can barely take care of herself. She points out how dependable Yuha is though, and asks to marry him. Kei tries to talk her out of it by stating that Yuha's no good, and he wonders if she thinks he is a failure as a human being. Yuha explains that it's a bit too sudden for him, but she states that she will wait for as long as it takes. He says that she is a great person though, and she thanks him for being so kind. But Katie must try and separate them as Yuha guys being suffocated afterwards. Yuha Year returns home, but he doesn't have much time and makes not a delicious meal. He explains to his loyal pet that he actually just figured out that he likes making people happy and leaves the next day. Everyone is shocked to see that all their things have been destroyed. I wonder who could have done it. The food they gathered was taken too, so they decide to head out to look for breakfast ingredients. Aki is a bit late to react, and we see it's because he was staring at a footprint in the woods. Aki is once again unable to move as he's seemingly traumatized, and Yu remembers how he said he was used to lure bears away. Just then, a bear appears before them and they all run for their lives. The teachers, seemingly unwilling to risk their lives, simply tell them to find something to put between them and the bear. Ms. Awa calls them over and shows them a way to safety. Unfortunately, she ends up in a bad spot, but everyone's stunned to see that Yuha has stopped. The ferocious bear did too wrestle for a bit, but the bear doesn't stand a chance and Yuha drops it. Ms. Uaa explains that as a teacher, she should be scolding his reckless behavior, but explains that if he hadn't protected her, then she would have died. She decides not to punish him and even goes as far as to offer herself as a reward, but Yu declines. The two of them are okay, but Yu really did a number on the bear, and it remains unconscious. It will wake up soon though, and the nurse must be held back as she wants to use a strange medicine to restrain it. He arrived soon after and has the bear restrained by police. She explains that the bear will serve as a guard dog for the facility, and she has already gotten permission for it. She assures everyone that if the bear even tries to hurt a human, they can just eat its delicious meat. And with that, the study trip has come to an end. Yi then heads back to the other world, and with Knight's help, they destroy a group of monsters, leaving him in awe of another insane weapon. Nearby, the talking rabbit observes him and is glad to have finally found him. Yi is glad to see that Owen has arrived to take him to visit the king and forgets that he added helmet on. Lexi compliments his armor and explains that he's not ready to see the king. They're grateful to hear that he has accepted the invitation. He explains that he has a companion with him, but Knight jumps on Lexi and a tree collapses nearby. Lexi's okay, but Yuha noticed his thread nearby and realizes that Knight was trying to protect Lexi. Yuha can't explain what's going on, but asks Owen to protect Lexi while he finds out. He asks Knight to find the culprit behind all this, and we see them as they set up some more threads. Knocks her out instantly, and it's stunned to see that it's Luna. Lexi arrives soon after, and he reveals that Luna is someone he knows. He thanks Knight for trying to spare his feelings and asks Lexi to give him some time, as he wants to treat Luna's injuries at his house. Yuha is certain that Luna isn't a bad person and just wants to speak with her. One last time Lexi agrees to let him go, and Owen 1 arrives as she explains that she will be going with Yuha to his house as they leave. Yuha wonders if this is really okay, and Lexi explains that she has to go, since she wants to know why this girl tried to kill her. Decides magic would be faster, and as they leave, Owen desperately tries to stop them. Thanks for watching part 3, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new anime recaps.